Alright. They are about to go live. Or around 60 seconds before we start, rather. You all good?
Alright, 60 seconds, ready to go here.
Sweet. I got real scared for a second there, and then I saw you were muted. I was like, oh, we're fine. Alright, let me get to the correct video game. Alright, looks like we are on.
Alright. Good evening, folks. My name is Super Jamoose. This is Captain Yapti, and this is Mega Man X 100%. This is our showcase run, showing off our skills, showing off the run, in anticipation of the Hundo Cup coming up later in 2025. Apti, over to you for a second. Tell us about yourself. What are you here? What are you doing?
Yeah, so if you don't know me, I'm Apt. I have been speedrunning X1 100% for about 3 years now, and wanted to try to do something to give back to the community. So set up this this tournament, hoping to get some new people into the run. That's why we got 3 levels, so it's bracketed by PB, so everybody can participate at any skill level. Got 3-4 months before it starts. And it's all for a good cause. It's all for our friends over at Gamers Outreach. They're an amazing charity. They provide video game stations for families that are in long-term hospital stays. So highly recommend checking them out. It's a very worthwhile cause. Thanks a ton, Super Jamoose, for giving me a chance to speak for a second. And now y'all are not going to hear much from me from here on out.
My pleasure. You're the one doing all the hard work today here, man. Quite honestly, I'm just here to say words over your button mashing and clicking and zipping around. So I do have my chat over here to my right-hand side. So I do see that, yes, get hype. Thank you, Geo. Thank you, Metroid Master. Thank you, Dukester. Good to see all y'all. Okay, so Apti, this is going to be counting down in 5. Are you ready to go?
I am all set. Let me get to the title screen, and
probably a good start. Getting to the title screen's probably a good place to start.
Oh yeah, tends to be the best. Just wanted to throw some hearts in chat. All right, ready when you are.
Alrighty then, folks. We're gonna get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right. So for those of you who are new to it here, let me break it down here for you. This is a 100% completion run of Mega Man X1. What does 100% mean? Well, what this means is that you are finishing the game with all pickups, all optional items, such as heart containers, sub-tanks, armor capsules. This is a showcase of the deets of the run. If you are new to speedrunning, or new to speedrunning of Mega Man games in general, well, you've chosen a pretty good night to roll in here. So this game starts in the intro stage. This is the highway stage. And in fact, the first bit of tech for this run happens within the first 2 minutes. We have to ensure that we have low health before reaching the airstrip at the end of the stage. The reason being is that the boss, Vile, won't need to push our health down before grabbing us, because, spoiler alert, this is actually a boss fight you're supposed to lose. I know, new concept. Well, hopefully he plays nice with it today, so we'll see how that pans out. Very precise jumps here. If you've played this thing casually, right there, that last little crumble block there, with very, very precise taps, precise jumps, actually you can jump off of that without making that crumble. Little tiny things to make sure that the amount of lag is reduced, because that means it's another sprite that doesn't have to be animated. We're gonna get to the airstrip here. We have the ship coming in hot directly above us. We need to blast off these big old cars coming down here, because that's how you launch cars, is you just launch them off the mass of these big airships here. You want it to be as far left as possible. Okay, that's not fantastic, but that's okay. We have this big dude in the suit coming down to ruin our day. This is, again, why we want that low health. He's going to trap us in this little electrical field here. Stomp on over. Grab us! And he's going to have words to say. But thankfully, we got a buddy in our back pocket here who's going to help us out. All right. Oh yeah, and shout outs to the ad we had before the run here. The shout out to the custom animation, custom text animation for this exact scene about how you can join into the Hundo race, the Hundo Cup. You don't have to be good. You don't have to be veterans. You don't have to have this for multiple years. You can join in. So here we're going to talk about the boss order. So this is a common theme with all the... Oh, sorry. What'd you say?
WJG saying we're a little bit ahead of the action with voice.
Oh, I apologize. That's okay. I'll just take my time then. I'm going to talk about the boss order. This is a common theme with, well, all of our classic and X entries in the Mega Man series, and that's selecting your stage to go pound on a Robot Master. After you've ruined their day, you grab their weapon, you charge off to the next stage, you let it repeat. It's usually in a cycle of 8 bosses. For Mega Man X, at least for the 100% category, we don't have too much of a deviation in the order. So we always want to start off with Chill Penguin. Because we want to get, not necessarily his weapon, but we want to get his dash boot upgrade, which is critical for our movement, and we're here to go fast. That's what we're going to do. We're always going to go fast. You have to go fast, and everyone loves it. This particular path that Appy is running, we call C3, which is called Chameleon Third, or Chameleon is always the third in order. Very, very minor bits of tech here you'll have noticed. The way that Appy is hitting these slopes, these kind of not quite 45-degree angles here, the way that horizontal movement and vertical movement translates in this game is a little bit wonky because the way that you sort of step forward, it means that you can get a little bit more vertical height on the jumps. Keep in mind these kind of glass igloo things here we're going to come back to a little bit later on, but spoilers, we'll tell you about all that a little bit later on. Coming into our first boss fight, this is Chill Penguin, where you see if he is chill today or if he is not. This guy tends to be a little bit of a jerk. I've seen many streams in which the amount of slides he has taken is a question of debate, a question of polls, a question of how many slides are we going to see. Coming back to the boss order here, you'll notice that we're not going to quite follow the perfect boss weapon weakness order, but that's okay. It's more about getting the right upgrades and the tech early and building it all up from there. All right. Getting ourselves into our second stage. This is Boomer Quanger. Don't ask me what a Quanger is. I presume it's some sort of a beetle-like gentleman. So the translation tells us. Weirdly enough, it's the same translation in Japanese version or American version. This stage is mostly vertical. It's kind of the, if you're old enough, you're well experienced enough with the Mega Man Classic series, that's sort of the Elecman stage. This is the token you gotta climb. It's the vertical sort of a stage. And there's a trick coming up here which is very, very critical. I'll tell you all about it here in just a second. Which is called, called the Iceless Jump. You'll hear this one thrown around in the MMX speedrunning community a lot. It refers to a trick to grab the heart container in Quanger stage without the assistance of other gear. Now, how the devs intended to do it, how you're supposed to get this item, is to use a charged up version of Shotgun Ice, which we just got, to create a sled platform. It scoots out over the edge and allows us to jump up and grab the heart container from a high ledge. Well, this trick that we're going to use is allow us to kick off the wall in just the right spot to ascend to that ledge. No fuss, no muss. It takes practice, but trust me, shouting out to the folks who will be interested in running the Hundo Cup, if me, Super Jamoose, I've been able to pull off this trick with a little bit of practice, you can too. Trust me, this is not impossible. This is absolutely something you can practice and you can master. Do not be discouraged by how smooth we are here. And that's the iceless jump. Very well done. Coming into our next boss here, this is Quanger himself, themselves, I'm not quite sure. The robot, the second robot match we have to get into here. There is a particular technique we use. You basically gotta get right up in their grill and just kind of jump in front of him, if you're able to maintain it. We call it the Quanger Tango, where he's going to come in with the horns, try to grab you, and you just jump out of the way, jump out of the way, jump out of the way, and you just let that flow kind of move, and yeah, just kind of go with it, and that's the Quanger Tango. Coming up next is Chameleon Stage. There is a bit of tech here I want to describe, and it's going to take a little bit of explaining, so bear with me here. It's called the Phantom Grab, which is probably the most famous trick in our run. Now, the reason we do Quanger second is so we can get the boomerang cutter. That is the item that we absolutely need. It allows us to snag items that are not normally able to be picked up. It allows us to grab items that are just off the screen. All right, bear with me here. When the boomerang cutter goes out, it's going to grab an item, like say an ammo drop or a life drop, something like that, and it's going to pull that back to us. When we set that up, the item is going to travel back to us, and if we're able to collect the next item about one frame before picking up something else, that other item becomes loaded into the boomerang instead. You're basically sort of substituting one item for the other. So, boom, we're able to grab things we normally cannot, something that's off screen. It also works for grabbing other things, like grabbing platforms out of thin air. There's actually two spots in particular we're going to see that application. One is Eagle, and the other one is in Sim 1. So we call this Phantom Grab, C3 Roots. If you've got that, you're already having a really good day, and Appy's having a pretty good run here to start.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, and shoutouts to, I didn't mention that, the mini-boss here is big dude, big chonk, green fellow with the hook hands, jumping up and down at the top of the cavern here. Shoutouts to Green Biker Dad, he's our optional mini-boss above the caverns, and shoutouts to his son, Green Biker Dude, who is a massive, very important on-screen cameo in Mega Man X2. Check it out. Making sure that, oh yes, I was going to call you out on that too. I was like, you better grab that one up, man. You're going to need that later for reasons I shall reveal later. For those the uninitiated as to why the heck do you need one-ups? Yeah, you need them. Those things are important. Nearly into Chameleon stage, into Chameleon boss fight right about here. And, well, a little bit more predictable than the Quanger Tango. What you can do is you can blast Chameleon first, and thankfully we have the weakness weapon, we have the Boomerang Cutter. You can lock him into this kind of a looping stun lock sort of a pattern. It's kind of elegant, it's kind of parabolic. See, 1, 2, 1, 2, something like that. And it works every time. I want to touch back on what I talked about earlier about Phantom Grabs. Well, Phantom Grabs is going to be used in Eagle Stage for something called the Magic Carpet. Remember what I talked about in that we can use it to grab things we normally can't? Well, these platforms that we're going to be riding up and down, we're going to grab one of those, and we're going to take it off to a whole new world, and you will see here shortly. Also, shout out to the OST in this game. Oh, okay, so I am a sucker for video game tracks. I'm a sucker for video game tracks. These always consistently come on to my regular playlist, my workout playlist, that kind of thing. It's my jam. I'm a weird like that. I love stuff like this. So, Magic Carpet. WGG says, oh, may have missed it, but when there's a bit of what constitutes 100%? I'm happy to tell you that. What you're doing is you are grabbing all of the collectibles. There was one heart container in all the 8 stages. There are 4 sub-tanks, and there are 4 armor capsules, and also there are the 8 boss weapons. So, math, there are 24 items you need to pick up in order to unlock the final 25th item, which we will talk about a little bit later. Grab the armor capsule. For example, here we got the head armor. The head armor, which is in Mega Man X1, is not. Well, it is important, but it's not important. It allows you to break blocks with your head, with your headbutt, with your big metal dome, and you're able to break things. But I think it also constitutes, it allows your boots to break things as well. Just allows you to access areas you normally can't. Probably the most unique boss arena in Mega Man X1. And yeah, you're just going to fight on the ship. You're just going to fight on this big old ship here. Eagle, we want to stay on the ground for as long as we can. Of course, he's not going to. He's going to start to dive, but interesting. Apti and I talked about this, the RNG involved with Eagle's dives. When Eagle goes up to dive, Eagle is going to either dive once, or he's going to dive 5 or more times. It's one of those things. So just diving once is acceptable, but diving more than that is not fantastic. Once again, we're at the mercy of RNG. Next off, going into number 5, which is Mammoth Stage. Mammoth Stage is where we're going to pick up the arm upgrade, which gives us access to a couple of things. The 3rd tier weapon charging, and allows us to supercharge our boss weapons. Also, again, there's not a great word for it. It's not dynamic coding. It's not what it is. But this is one of the only times in the X series where, depending upon what you've done in previous stages, it's going to change the environment of the next stage. So, for example, when you've got Chill Penguin already downed, and you're going to be rolling into Mammoth Stage, well, everything's frozen. It's not like Fire World. No, everything's frozen already because you've already beaten that. With Penguin Stage. We're going to see that again because we've already beaten Eagle when we go to Mandrill Stage, that ship that we just blew up, well, it's crashed directly into the stage and makes certain things a little bit easier. So the order does matter. Coming back to Mammoth Stage, we just got that supercharge ability with the arm upgrade. There's a few of these weapons in particular we'll be using to our advantage, like supercharging the Chameleon Sting, for example, for camouflage, which he's using right now, where he's flashing green. He's able to kind of slip his way through a lot of these enemies. Another thing we'll be using is supercharging the Shotgun Ice, which you saw earlier for getting the sled platform. We will need that. That's very, very, very important for a trick called the Air Hundo in Sigma 3. Rolling on into Mammoth Stage, and this is where we get to see the Storm Tornado. This is Eagle's weapon. This thing is the Ender of Worlds. This is an overpowered weapon for Mega Man X1. Absolutely it is. In that anything that gets in that column of air is just dusted. It's just absolutely toast. And we love it. We're here for it. I do want to say, like, the chat is loving you right now. Like, don't keep going. You are on an awesome pace right now. I am impressed.
Thanks, man. I'm trying.
So I should mention this. I'm loving my tea today. My throat is absolutely blasted today, so I'm just working with it. Mint tea. Shout out to that. We have to go back. We got to go back to Penguin Stage now that we have a weapon that allows us to burn things. And now that we have that, well, we need to go burn a thing. The glass igloo things in the back half of Penguin Stage, I pointed that out earlier on. There's only one thing that can crack open those big glass domes, and that is Mammoth's weapon, the flame burner, the flame wave. So we need to go head back there and do that. The reason being, and this ties into what WJG was saying as to what constitutes 100%. Well, 100% is you need all those heart containers. And inside this big glass dome thing is one of those heart containers. I remember Apti saying that would be the holy grail of finding new tech for this game. If there was a way to do that earlier, we'd be all over it. We'd be in there like a dirty shirt. And I know what you're going to say, folks, that, oh, this game is barely younger than you, Jamoose. Well, okay, you have me there. And the thing is, I remember previously, earlier than 2020, we were just barely scraping sub 36-minute runs. And I don't believe that those runs included tech like the Phantom grabs, or at least we didn't fully understand how it could be used. So there are still things that are being found. Do not despair. We will always find new stuff. We're always going to refine, you know? In a mandrill stage here, and I gotta time this just right because, yo, this song is really good. And shoutouts to Turner Montage. Talked earlier about the Storm Tornado, and now, when you supercharge, it gives you this big vertical column of air, which is the ideal weapon to use against the mini-boss, which is Thunder Slimer. Thunder Slimer is a jerk, but Thunder Slimer doesn't like getting blown away like that, because he just can't stand it. So, that's how we're gonna handle him. Teach him a lesson in complacency. Very easy to miss that heart container way up there in the attic there, way up on that top right, but thankfully we've got the tools and the awareness to grab it. We're going to roll our way into fighting Mandrill. Mandrill, how can I say this? Mandrill is casually, probably the easiest boss in the game if you have the right weapon, which is the shotgun knife, and you play it safe. But we're not here to play it safe. We're here to play it fast. So we're going to be a little bit fast and loose with how often we can hit him, timing those shots against his iframes, and making sure that we're dealing maximum damage in a short amount of time. But otherwise, this guy's a pushover. He goes down. We carry on. Now, coming up next, we come up to a stage that is, you're going to be seeing a lot of this stage. In the same way that you had to go visit Penguin Stage a second time to get something that we missed, well, we have to do that for Dillo as well, but a little bit further. And I'll explain a little bit more as we go on. Very interesting and very subtle bits of lag reduction will come into Dillo, but we'll get there when we get there. See if we can grab... Oh, missed it that time. That's okay. Behind Abdi, there's one of these big, massive spike ball dirt crushers kind of things. There actually is a collectible in there. One of the sub-tanks is hidden inside. Casually, what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to wait for that thing to bulldoze its way through, and then you jump back. And wait for it to clear. There is a way to use our friend, the Phantom Grab. By using Phantom Grab, we're able to grab it just by sliding on the wall, but that is a frame-perfect trick. It's a nasty one. I mentioned very subtle lag reduction tracks. On the last sort of minecart, I wouldn't call this a minecart. This thing is not safe. The OSHA safe, absolutely not. But you'll notice that he's jumping off and on the platform. Normally, when you go through this area here, you have a whole bunch of these robot birds that are just like flying through the air, and it looks really, really cool, visually awesome, but we don't want them generating lag because the old SES is going to go, oh, I can't handle like 5 sprites on the screen at the same time. So by jumping off and on, we prevent them from spawning. Doesn't allow them to spawn. That's right. You'll notice Appy is going to jump real high on that last sweep across the gorge. That's what we call a visit. A visit is very important. We'll come back to it later. Dillo being very, very helpful this time around. I've seen that Dillo fight go way, way longer than it needs to be. Dillo being generous today, so that's good. We're on to our last stage. We're into Octo. We're into Octopus stage, appropriately number 8. Octo stage really is Mini-Boss City, man. It's another showcase for weapons such as the Chameleon Sting and also the Storm Tornado. And this might be my favorite stage because, you know, I kind of like underwater stages. You get some really neat movement physics, you get really neat gravity, that kind of thing. And I always love how in Mega Man X, the game really rewards players for exploring and experimenting, both of those things. There's a cargo ship that's about midway through here that's kind of floating above this big old spiky pit, and it's throwing bombs at you and it's launching drones at you. If you're able to take it down, the wreckage crashes through the seafloor and reveals a hidden base. You'll see it here right away. He's able to snipe that with a storm tornado in one hit. Again, what I've been talking about is that this refinement, the old school way was to jump up there or to jump very, very close and launch a tornado at close proximity. That would cause horrendous amounts of lag. Well, it turns out Storm Tornado has a longer reach, so we can get on that oil platform and hit it from a distance. And after you make me nervous every time you jump on those. Every time.
Sorry.
Once again, that's the mighty Storm Tornado just killing off these Urboros, these big sea serpent things, these big sea dragons. Doesn't even have a chance to get on the screen to say hi. Nah, we don't have time for you. We gotta move on. We have an octopus to kill. But the personality here is that you're going down. Well, not likely. Once again, this one of these RNG bosses where he pulled you into this big old suction tornado. So we want to make sure that we don't have a lot of them, or as few of them as possible. And oh, okay, yeah, he just didn't the entire time. Man, oh man, you are killing it here. I love this RNG today. Yeah, really nice Octo. The chat's loving this. Okay, so now you're going to see a little cutscene here between X and Zero, saying that, hey, we found the bad guy's base. We found it. It's on this big floating island that we couldn't see up until now. How do you miss that? How do you miss that? There's this, an island, I presume, the size of Manhattan has just launched itself into the sky. We couldn't find it. We don't know where he is. Guys. Anyways, my arguments aside. Now we've opened up the Sigma stages. You can tell by this extremely handsome man with the incredible hairstyle and shoulder pads. But we need to go back to Dillo first. We have 100% of all the pickups. We got all the boss weapons. So that ledge above Dillo's boss room, right at the end of the stage, I mentioned it earlier, when he jumps over the gorge, he has to jump high enough so that there's a little life capsule at the top of the screen. That needs to be visible within screen. That is called a visit. Okay. We gotta do that. I apologize, cut up there. We need to do that 3 more times, technically 4 more times. So on the 5th time, something interesting happens here. So, this is getting Hadouken. This is shoutouts to subscribers of, what was it? Nintendo Power back in the mid to late 1990s, which once again I'm old enough to remember because I believe there was no way that we could have found this casually. No way. This is an incredibly well-hidden secret. And I think after a while, after the game was released, even Capcom said, here, go ahead, have this secret because you're never going to find it on your own. There is no way. So, with all 100% of these things, and with your life bar full, we've got to get and visit that particular spot 5 times. And on the 5th time, another armor capsule, an extra hidden armor capsule appears and gives us what we need. So you're going to be seeing Apti just swan diving off of this into the gorge. Trust me, this is all intended. This is all part of the plan. This, if my math is correct, it should be the last one. Catching up with the chat. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention to the chat, but I'm watching this here. Capcom and their crossover. Yeah, actually they do it twice. They do it in X1 with the Hadouken. In X2, it's the Shoryuken, which, by the way, is much easier to grab. And here we are. You see, good old Doc Thomas Light is actually ripped underneath that lab coat. I am impressed as to how well he is taking care of himself. And he looks amazing in the gi and the headband. So this is the Hadouken. You throw a fireball, just like Ken and Ryu and a couple other characters I can't remember in Street Fighter. I grew up on Street Fighter 2. Those are the two I remember. On almost every enemy in the game, if you land that fireball, they are toast in one hit. And we got a few bosses that we would like to try that out on.
I made a mistake. You'll see.
That's okay. Getting into Sigma Stage 1. This is probably my favorite track in the entire game, by the way. If you're listening to this track, that the intro bass line, the doom, 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 that kind of a thing, leading into it is awesome. It tells a story. It tells you to say that you're here now. You're serious. You've made it this far. You think you're tough. Well, let's see. In Sigma Stage 1, there's a couple things that are kind of happening in the background here. Get it? Okay, yes. Okay. We need to keep our health low again. Yes, because we're fighting Vile again. And just like before, we want low health so he can hurry up and grab us and get into the next stage. But also, there's that cutscene skip. If you kind of climb up on the left side of the wall and just sail up and over the floor, you skip the cutscene trigger. Hence why you're going to see a bunch of text boxes in this cutscene. As the game is trying to resolve saying, oh, you see the cutscene, and also you have your actions at the same time. And there she is. And this is where we see Hadouken on full display. Because Vile will always jump off to the left. We just turn, and boom, we just trash this guy in one shot. Easy, satisfying, lovely. We've got to take care of Zero. Hope Zero's legs are okay. I'm sure. Well, I hate to say it, yeah, Zero will never return. Nope, Zero certainly doesn't come back in later iterations of the game, and certainly is never seen again in their own series. Nope, sorry. I'm sorry. Moving on to the climb. We have Zero. Oh man, you guys. And then, and the Sigma Stage just puts an old twist on the revisit fight, something we haven't seen since, Jesus, all the way since, Classic. Classic Mega Man, wow. In that we have the refight boss. The refight bosses are kind of sprinkled in amongst the first three Sigma stages, so we have Quanger to deal with here. Quanger being a little bit of a jerk, but that's okay. We just move on, carry on here. And we get into the third boss of the first stage, because holy moly, we've got three bosses to deal with, and that's Boss Spider. Let's hope that Boss Spider didn't bring her children today. Pay very close attention to the spans, and then just blast. Yep. Rifle says, yep, we had to wait until Marvel vs. Capcom 3 to see him. Ah, and boy, did we see him a lot in there. Yeah, surely never again in this series. Yeah, absolutely true. Spittin' facts. Now, as is tradition with the Classic series as well, you basically go back to the castle. We go back to the next Wily stage, or in this case, the next Sigma Stage 2. We have another three bosses to deal with. Not a particularly long stage, but there's a lot of verticality here, a lot of careful climbing. We're going to see a lot of heavy use of the charged chameleon, so we can just sort of just zip our way through a whole bunch of this nonsense. We have our good friend Penguin. Penguins can't be friends. Just gonna trash him and move on. See if we can get these ladder skips. Ladder skips are... Oh, now that... Okay, that's a bit of a... impressive here. So that's one... Okay, we got one ladder skip for sure. A ladder skip is where you're basically treating the one rung, the one side of the ladder as from the wall, which you can walk here and ascend, rather than go into a climbing animation. Little tiny things to save more and more time. And with Eagle down, we go into the stage boss, which is Rangda Bangda, which is a unique name for unique boss. What we want to see here are blue eyes, the individual eyes that we can Hadouken down. But if we can't get what we want, we need to improvise. Let's see if Apti can pull this off. I'm going to hush myself and focus. One blue eye, red eye. Okay, not quite, but we're able to improvise. We're able to recover. Cycle. That's okay. That's not bad. That's all right. What is Sigma 3? Sigma 3 has 3 of my favorite tricks, all in one package. The first one is Dillo Skip. The trick here is to keep the screen low. Keep that focus low so the entirety of the upper screen doesn't come into play, because that is to trigger, to load the Dillo boss intro and the Dillo boss fight. What? Oh, wow. Okay, that... we'll talk about that when we're done for the day. How about that? That will take some explaining. It has happened before, but it's pretty rare. Getting into the second one, we see... Oh, I don't think you have enough health here, man. We might not have to be able to do that. See if you can... Ow. Okay. Backup strat. That's okay. Backup strat. We'll just go into the old style method. We'll just lock Chameleon into the boomerang phase here. That's okay. Maybe we can chat about that a little bit later on, but there is a trick there called Air Hado. Air Hado, which allows us to... just to Air Hado. Again, maybe better to explain it a little bit later on. I don't want to lose too much time.
That one needs a visual.
Yeah, I think it's better to explain that visually. That's okay. We'll workshop it. We'll show the folks some bonus content a little bit later on. That was wild, man. I haven't seen that very often. It's Okay, moving your way through the various the aquatic region here. The Octo fight is actually static. It is actually the exact same thing every single time with the refight. He's going to point, he's going to fire a barrage, he's going to jump, and then use Hado. Done. Easy every time. Grilled squid. The last of our last, which is a sentence I just said with my face, yes, is number 8, which is the Mammoth. Very, very similar. He's going to jump over us, we're going to turn and fire with the Hadouken. And then we're going to get into probably one of my favorite tricks, or at least one of the older tricks I remember. It's called the Dom Duken. And shout outs to one of the big granddaddies of MMX speedrunning, that was Demolix. Basically, we have to get right up in the grill of the final boss here, which is D-Rex, right into the jaw. Just jump right onto the platform, into the jaw, quarter circle forwards, punch, Hadouken. Let's see if we can do it. Yeah, easy every time. And that's the Dom Duken. Good night, D-Rex. We're going on to our last stage. Sigma 4 is very, very, very straightforward. It's just a climb to the top, and it's a gauntlet of 3 bosses. Velgarder, Jedi Sigma, and Wolf Sigma. Hadouken is our boss killer, as usual, for the first 2 stages, but not for Wolf Sigma. He is a special boy, and we'll get into that a little bit later. I do like how the tech around the Velgarder fight, this wolf puppy dog here. Blast first, then Hadouken. That has evolved over the years. I remember his technical weakness actually the Shotgun Ice. It was Shotgun Ice and then Hadouken. But it's gotten more refined. Jedi Sigma, we just bring a gun to a laser sword fight and he goes down. but for Wolf Sigma, because, oh no, he's a wall now! Again, shoutouts to Terminal Montage. I love that joke a lot. We can't use the Hadouken. We have to use the Rolling Shield. It's the only thing that's going to be able to break down the big old head here. Gonna jump on top of the claws and ride that claw to keep your balance. And time coming up. And time! I saw 36, 40... Oh, shoot, I lost it. 36-42. Get your GGs in the chat, please.
Oh, thanks for the GGs, everybody.
So, let's talk about Sigma 3.
Do we have to? If you jump early, you get the, like you said, you got to keep the camera low. And if you jump early, you get the Dillo to spawn.
I don't know if there's a particular term for that, but in Dillo's Skip, yeah, you have to keep that screen low, that black bar at the bottom of the screen, so that the screen is still focused kind of lower than it needs to be. That's what skips the Dillo spawn trigger. But to your point, if you jump too early and you bring that screen back into focus, the game kind of wakes up and they said, oh, wait a sec, I haven't spawned Dillo yet. And even though you're already leaving his room, you're already out the door, breakfast in hand, coffee in hand, Dillo's like, you forgot something, and just rushes after you.
Oh yeah, thankfully you don't have to fight him though. You can just keep going.
just ghost him. Just like, nah, I'm good, thanks.
Just run away. Oh man, well thank you so much for hanging out and doing the commentary, Super Jamoose.
My absolute pleasure. I love doing this. I love lending my voice to the speedrunning community. I admittedly leave the speedrunning to a younger crowd. That is not a thing I do, but I love voicing it. I love hosting it. That's my jam, man. I love doing it.
Well, really appreciate you being a part of it, WJG, and everybody at Speedrunners Arena. Thank y'all for helping us with the restreaming and hosting the tournament for us. Really grateful for that. Just want to encourage everybody, if you think it might be fun, wanna sign up, come hang out. We've got every other Thursday we're hanging out in voice, practicing, learning, workshopping strats, all that. And if you haven't looked at it yet, check out the Tiltify campaign. That's the main way to donate. So check that out, and again, check out Gamers Outreach for some up-to-date information on what that amazing charity's up to.
There's a question in the chat saying, any target for a raid once everything wants to be said has been said. Got any friends we can drop in on?
That's a great... Yeah, let me, I'll at you. Get it to you right now. Nice. Awesome. I think we're all set here.
All right, folks.
Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to close out with?
Nope, nothing I need to close out of here. I am pleased to be here. Once again, happy to answer questions. Oh, sorry.
We're forgetting one more thing. We're doing this again in a week.
Yes, that's right. Oh, that's true. For Game Over Cancer. Yeah, because Game Over Cancer. We're doing this again in a week, but we're going to have a race. So it's going to be yourself versus...
Shauna.
Shauna, thank you.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, gonna be fun. It's gonna be over at Strizer 86 channel. But yeah, come hang out for that as well.
Please do.
Another great charity, another wonderful event. But yeah, thanks a ton, everybody.
All right. Peace out. Stay determined. Go fast.